we are back today with our new episode of Own It series. And today, as we said last time, that we're going to talk about own it, own your true self. Yeah. So we're going to own that. Yeah, this is my true self where I just keep forgetting things. But yes, that's a part of it. So to start with, what we're going to do here we're going to talk about our journey. We're going to talk about how owning our true self helped us in our personal life, in our work, in our entrepreneurship and everything, and what all things is really necessary to even understand that how to own the true self, or how to identify your true self. So if we start with yes, Uzma, maybe tell me that how would you know, or how you got to know that what's your true self is, or how you identify that?
So Gunjan, for me, my true self or my authentic self is when I, just don't have the fear of, I don't have to put up any facade. And what I am, truly in my deep core, I can show that all, to people. There's no mask, there's nothing where I have to actually pretend anything. So that's what I call as authentic self, and actually not being shy or ashamed of showing my true self. So that's how I define it. How do you understand this word authentic self?
That's exactly how it is, that when you become very comfortable with your own skin, with everything what you have, that's your true self. As we spoke in our last episode about owning our inner voice, I think it starts from that journey. This is how I define it, that first you own your inner voice, and then you get to know that what your true self really means. Because there is so many layers for true self, which I feel that we need to always figure it out. And every day we are kind of learning or growing towards it if we really work on it. So yeah, that's what I feel. But for true self, I always imagine that for me it was a very big journey. It's from first become bit ambivert, first understand your inner voice, then own that inner voice, become friends with your inner voice, and then the chapter comes in that how your true self comes, right? So what was your journey look like in getting to true self of yours?
To be honest, Gunjan, in this, even my journey had been really long. Even if I, had this journey of from it's like your is A to Z, then mine is actually Z to A. It's something like that, because from an extrovert you came to the point of ambivert, and for me, from an introvert I became an extrovert, or somewhere as an ambivert, because I still enjoy my me time and space and silence. But I feel that it took me a lot of time to truly own my true self and actually put it out there to people that this is what I am, and I am not going to change it for anybody. I'm not going to take anybody's shit. It really took me time, and I think 30s, being in my 30s, did that miracle to me. Otherwise, I do feel I had always been living this dual life. This is something which it can go in my negative, but I'm being my true vulnerable and authentic self here, saying that I had always been living a dual life where I used to be super confident, that kind of a person who is people would admire, be like, oh my god, we want to be like Uzma, like that outside. And inside my house I was somebody like the youngest kid of the house who nobody takes seriously, who cannot even say things, and would maybe perhaps go in the corner and cry, but would not be able to put forward the points that the person wants to say. So for years I had been living this dual life, but now it's not like that. Thanks to the magical 30, now I'm I own, this is what I am, accept it or reject it, I don't care. So now this has become. What about you?
Yeah, that's very interesting that you took this topic out, that 30 actually changed the game. And I have no idea who marketed this, that 30 is really shit, and people really get sad when they turn 30, as if it's the end of the world. And I never understood that. In the time I turned 30, I came here. It's my true self journey really started okay, it started in India way before, when the same time when I started like understanding my inner voice and everything. It also started with also understanding that, okay, what do I want? The way we said it last time, that this is the question you ask and that answers comes with it. But turning 30 was the magic. Like, I turned 30 when I came to Berlin, and that was my first step, like, of getting into this. No one talks about it. Like, once you become 30, there is like a lot of confusion gets better. It's like it just goes away. In 20s, you are struggling with so many shit and you're trying to pretend something because this part of you, what you said, that living dual life, I think we all lived that. Like, and we all had that kind of feeling where you just don't feel connected with your own self, but you are pretending to someone and you have to just keep acting, you know? I feel that everyone under 30 can be actors, really. I feel,
Yeah.
or like above 30 as well, if they don't figure that
Yeah.
out. So yeah, for my like journey was that, like, that after coming to know, and then I became even more stronger in terms of listening to the inner voice, becoming friends with it. It also comes out, like, a lot of things comes out, that where you started thinking what makes you happy, what doesn't, what kind of person you are, because in 30 I think we finally make that foundation. Don't you think? That is
Yeah,
like,
I think,
that is the foundation of a person. Yeah.
I think by 30 we have had our saturation. So, we're like, it's enough, enough is enough. We cannot continue living like this. And that's why I think at 30 we have that aha moment of our life that this is enough. Now I need to live for myself. So somehow that's why it becomes that game changer. And true, it is, I think listening to our inner voice, if people start this journey earlier, then I think they can actually be too comfortable and will be able to own their authentic self way before 30, and then can actually achieve better things in life. And for us, it did happen late because, yeah, it's okay, better late than never,
Yeah,
that
true
did
that.
happen to us. I know.
Yes.
And I do feel that it has happened late, Gunjan, because actually owning our true self somehow is difficult. Do you feel so?
I feel it's a ongoing work which never stops, because as I told you earlier, that we never, I don't know if in this life we are reaching to the level of Buddha. That's not happening. I don't see it also, because I'm not want to become, but only thing which I want to become is that I become more closer to the person I am, like, because then everything feels like peaceful. It feels like it's easy, and it feels like that, like, okay, you resonate with the vibe where you are, like, and it doesn't, something which I feel that yes, it is a difficult part of first understanding it like that, and then the part like where you really keep yourself like in that thing, like, what I want to say is that when you become strong with it, in the sense that also takes time, because that's why it's difficult, because there is a lot of things which we have: society pressure, family pressure, friends pressure, things, and you just keep like saying no to yourself, and you're just like, okay, fine, it's gonna be fine, but it doesn't. And so that's the hard part, because the change, the transition of becoming your true self actually makes you a bit alone at certain time, because there is a lot of people who are not going to connect with you afterwards and all that stuff. But then you also become confident. Don't you think like that true self does bring a lot of self-esteem and confidence with it? What do you
Yes,
think?
absolutely. I agree with you. And I want to like talk a little bit more about the part that you said, that we become alone and how hard actually it is and why it is so hard. Because Gunjan, I feel that when people are actually quite scared in sharing out loud that who they actually are and what do they actually want. Because when we are embracing our unique self, and everybody is unique, you have your own authentic self, I have my own authentic self, and everybody is different. So when you are different, you are alone, you are not the part of the rat race. And that is what scares people, to be to be alone or to be in the limelight. Because if we talk neurologically also, so our limbic system, which is there in the brain, it works so that we are actually hidden. No, focus comes on us, because that's the part which focuses on the fight, fright and freeze mode which is there. So it does not want us to get into that response mode. So for that, it wants, okay, be hidden, be in the rat race. You don't have to come in limelight. And when we are showing our authentic self, we become the odd one out. We are different from people. We are the weird one of the family, disgrace, weird one, whatever the relatives have to say to us. But then, yes, so that fear makes it very difficult for people to actually open up and say, no, this is not what I want and I'm different. And that's there. And apart from that, of course, since we are taught to be very much modest and not answering back to our elders and all those things, so whenever even inside us, if we feel no, what they're saying, I'm not comfortable with that, I don't want to do that, but then we'll get a thrashing from our parents, how dare you, answer back to this person or that person. And living with that has made us kind of people pleasers, or just being submissive, and that makes, I think, authenticity very, very difficult.
That's so true. I can add to that because yes, like me figuring out my true self did let me into a lot of, fights at home, like, or the way I said before that I will quit like if something doesn't resonate. Although at that time I didn't know that like it's coming out of like my own self, like, or it's like it was very strong that I did those things. But sometimes I used to feel that like if it doesn't make me happy, I'm not gonna go in, like, and I'm not gonna do something. And it also brings like when you talked about that, like you've been taught to be modest or we've been taught to do this. And I think as a girl, like, or I as a girl, it's even more difficult to stand out loud because sometimes they just check you and they'll be like, "Oh, you're too much today," you know. And I have heard that a lot. I have heard that a lot, like in terms of it's like that you're too big personality for being a girl or like this and that. And okay, like earlier it used to affect, like because then I will mellow down or like I will try to fit in somehow, but it didn't work out. It just didn't because inside, like it was just like, but I have better jokes than you guys, like that kind of stuff. It's like I know better than that. I don't know why, like you want me to shut up. And in my professional life, that was like a big major issue because they would not take you seriously. And me, I knew it like since the beginning that I'm going to start a business or I'm going to do things. I did try in 2011, then I did again. It's just that just because I was not like, how do you say, I didn't make my authentic self become more confident. It was difficult because your self-doubt comes in, like a lot of things comes in because you're not listening, you're not actually working on figuring out what all is good about you. Instead of that, we start looking at what is not going against the society, then we start doing that, and that caused like a lot of self-doubt, that caused a lot of like issues about that you feel like an imposter or you feel like that you should act in certain manner, then only you be like. Didn't you had that like kind of feelings like while we are discussing on this topic? Yeah.
Absolutely, because at the end, in the hearts of your hearts, you know that you are pretending, and that feeling is so heavy. It's like a burden that you always this subliminal or this slight sadness that keeps going on, and you are not able to decipher why am I sad. It's because you have gotten into the habit of living in this pretense and not being true to yourself. That is why this when a lot of times when I have my clients also, Gunjan, when they come to me and they share this thing that we feel we are getting good package of salary, and the job is very good, even then I'm not happy. Why is it so? I mean, I'm being ungrateful, or what is it? And that's the point where I coach them and I make them realize, like, of course we're going to talk about the core value system that we have, and that's all about because they're not living their authentic self. And once they have that reality check, like, oh my god, that is why I'm not happy, and that is why it's not something is wrong with me that I'm being ungrateful. And same like it has happened with me also, because once I like took certain decisions and I started being open about that this is what I like, and I would not comply to what the family is saying, there I did feel at times I was kind of alienated, And I still feel at times, if we had a lot of a lot of flock of relatives right now during Eid time, and there were times when I was alone in one room and the entire family was in another room, and they did not feel like including me in the group, and I was okay with that. Earlier it used to hurt me that why is this, and just because I have different opinions than them, and I would maybe cut them on their certain points. But now I'm like, it's okay. I love me. I love being what I am. And if you want to include me, you can. If you don't, then that's okay. Because now I have become confident in my authentic self. So as you were saying that point, Gunjan, about when we embrace our true self, it directly, impacts our self-esteem and self-confidence. How did it happen for you?
So it's like, okay, like now people meet me or like anytime. I think I was merely like way more confident in a lot of manner. Like, but earlier I never used to take credit for it. Like, that I was just like, okay, I think this is normal because, like I didn't establish my true self earlier. Although it was there, it was very prominent because I feel that it was kind of a good thing that I always had that in one side, like that I will do things which feels good to me, but I didn't know how to define them. I didn't know anything. But after learning all about being authentic and all that stuff and really establishing your values, like your understanding of yourself, the confidence come in. So whenever someone asked me like that, how are you confident? I was like, because I did a lot of fuck ups. This comes with it because I did fuck up. I stayed alone. Like I did went through like bunch of different friend groups, like leave them because you are growing, you keep growing, and then a lot of people leave, and then you again go through that, like because that's why the way we said that it's gonna be difficult, this journey is not that easy because it comes in parts. It doesn't come like that, okay, I start working on my authentic self and I know it and then that's it. It's just not true. I just keep feeling that every time you become better into like learning about yourself, again there is a new journey starts with it, so it doesn't stop. So I guess like the confidence for me, as I said, it built it like by doing a lot of fuck ups, a lot of like fights about like or like it's fights in terms of when I feel that like my value has been compromised or something, like where I feel that like someone is like moral value, like your, so we will come to the value part maybe, because the first step of it is like that first you establish your own values. True. Right? And the way like our work is all depend on this, that like what are the values. A lot of people don't get it, that values are very personal. It has to be personal. It should not come from what my family value is, like, or what my the partner value or my friend's value. It is your personal values, and the best part of being an adult is that you can make your own. So I learned that like a bit later, because earlier I used to have those fights and thoughts in my mind that, oh, but that's your parents' value and it should be yours. And I'm like, but it doesn't work. If they say something, it's not supposed to be right. Don't you think, like, what would be your take on that?
Absolutely, absolutely correct. Yes, we know that our parents are there to help us and they always think good of us, and we need to learn from them. But at the end of the day, they are also human beings. They have also learned with experience. They were not given tutorials before they came on earth how to be good parents. Neither there is a concept of having parenting classes in India, even not today, So that's okay. And true it is, as you talked about the values part. Yeah, we do take certain values which are ingrained in us from our parents or our family as well, the people who we look up to. But even that we have to check that is it resonating with us or not. Does it give us that energy or that happiness? Because that's the very first question even I ask people when I'm helping them with understanding their values, and I'm sure you are also doing it with your clients, Gunjan, that think of certain incidents or certain things that make you very happy, or if you are in things or things that did not work for you, incidents where you did not feel easy, so they come to know that what is working for them and what is not working from them, and from there you derive okay, this is the core value that I have. Because of this, I was not happy in this particular scenario, or I was very happy in this scenario. Like for both of us, we clicked on emotions and empathy. That's our core values, and that's why this whole, idea of own it came.
Yeah. I know, exactly. So this is why that's so true, that this is why we connected, because I guess it was so easy with us just because you established your values, I did separately, but like, yes, we had similar, that's why we could connect. And the part like which you talked about that you tell your clients that what value you like, you should make that, and that's a really good way for someone to start. So for me, it is more about you reflect on those incidents. I think the part like which we touched in last two episodes also, that you take 10 minutes and reflect. In those reflection only, you will get to know so much about yourself, that like, oh, you did, and you will also understand where you were wrong, where you were right. Because it's not all about that, like you just see what I'm right about. Because you are not teaching narcissism, it's like, this is not it is. It's more about that you also learn that what I was wrong and why I did that. And you go ahead and then try to not do that same thing. Maybe you did that because it was influenced by a lot of other factors, like the people, the part like that, okay, around me people act like this, I'm gonna act like this. Not necessary. Maybe if they are like some kind of people, you don't have to, and then you start with it. And coming down to like the work part, for me, what has become very strong now is that this is how I reflect it for my clients. Like, because I work for brands, I work for like companies which are established or like a bit bigger or something. And there's a lot of times that has happened where the values didn't match. I had horrible time doing work. Although like I love doing my work, but end of the project, I will be like, good riddance. It's like you just feel like that police never come back because I'm not going to do it. Because this is what also matters, that once you define, because now I have a very defined value system in terms of like that I see new clients and I talk to them and I do an interview kind with them, because now I want to know who you are. Because I could be a freelancer, I could have like a company which is not that big, but it doesn't matter, because now what's the good part is, after I do these kind of interviews, or when I get kind of gauge like what kind of personality or what person is, I am happy doing that work, and I might put like 120% in it, because now I really connect with that person and I will give that time. So that's for sure that it helps you to even make it clear, the thing which is on Insta so many times, like that, oh, change your vibe, or like change people around you and all that stuff. I kind of sometimes find it bullshit, like, because you can't change them. You can't change every person around you. They leave you. That's a different part. Like, they will leave you as soon as your vibe gets a bit higher, Because once you become more and more aware about yourself, like the people who doesn't resonate with that wavelength, they will leave. But like, you have to be yourself in any condition. Because if they're there, maybe you grow with them. Do you feel that like authentic self or like the true self is also about giving or making people rise with you, or how it is?
Yes, absolutely. See, that is because authentic self is about showing your true self, but also sharing your opinions in a healthy way. It's never about, belittling somebody. So when you do that, a lot of times, in our college days or something, we wanted to be a part of the cool group, because the cool group was someone who would enjoy bullying people. Like, we know who is that group.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm talking about the people like who are too much, and yeah, we'll touch that part. Like, but you finish.
Yes. So there, just to be the part of that group, you would be the part and get involved, be the accomplice in all those things. But at the end of the day, you will not feel happy about it. So when you are your true self, it's all about having people around you, having that empathy, and it helps you rise and people rise with you. Because if I tell you one thing, like in my team also, my core value or my authentic self is all about that I should earn, and equally my team should earn. And if I am rising, everybody around me should rise and be happy. And that is my focus. And when I choose people also, no matter how, somebody is like good, or even in clients, as you said, there have been people who I've said, I will not work with them, despite the fact I knew that they were like really big clients of my city, was because I felt they are not matching with my value system. And to some people who might be very small brands, and I know I had to cut short the amount also which I actually charge, but I felt happy working with them, and I felt happy making them rise up, because that's how my authentic self is. It's empathy is something that is very, very important to me, and helping people. So yeah, I truly agree with this point of yours.
Yes. So no, I was just that's like this is the thing. I think people keep looking around to have fulfilling work and all that stuff, and they keep forgetting. I actually felt this like once I became very I grew into becoming true self. I also understand fulfilling doesn't has to mean that it gonna fulfill you, because that's where I was coming to that point that there is a very minor gap between ego and the true self.
Yes.
Do you feel that, like, because there is a very like a thin line, because some people are very established like in terms of what they think who they are, right? And they really know there's like I'm not this, I'm not that, and I'm like that, and that make them rigid. So don't you think this is a difference in that ego mindset of like true self and the one which we are trying to establish? How do you see it?
Absolutely. Because being your true self does not mean that you are going to think that you are at the top of the world. Of course, it's about being confident and putting out what are your, wants and desires, and this is how you want to do the things. But that does not mean that you are going to be like, a wall in front of people, and you're going to act like an obstacle. Because, see, it's important here, Gunjan, that we are going to meet different people when we are going to work. There would be times that maybe our team members might have different values than us, or their beliefs are different. So their being our authentic self, and then also understanding that we are not like somebody, oh, I'm not going to work with this person, or I start acting like a diva totally, that no. But you have to understand that man is a social animal. We have to be around people, and we will find certain people who might not match the vibe, but we may have to work with them at times. So there, the true authentic self is all about how to understand, how to have that balance. That balance is very necessary. And if you don't do that, then you are just plain narcissistic. You are self-obsessed, and you are not being just your true
Exactly.
authentic self.
Because I wanted to bring it down, like, because it's from my personal experience. That, like, yes, that confidence, like, success and everything does make you egoistic as well. So, like, and then it's so crazy because, like, I do see it like that. Like, there was a part of me, like, which was bit arrogant or like which bit more insecure, because yes, the authentic self also takes the insecurity out, because then you're not scared of anything. You're not scared of someone taking your space, or you're not scared of someone like taking advantage of you, because you already know your shit, like, you know that when to stop them and whatever. So I can see that, like, that how been developed in from that part of the egoistic and being confident and ego as well, where I will be like, yeah, I know everything, or like you, because I kind of went into like good position of jobs like at young age, or I was confident enough to get there. So it does get to you. So that's like the difference in 20s and 30s. That in 20s, like, you might call this as your true self, because you are making a small box under a tiny box and then another tiny box. And you keep making those tiny boxes, and you become so rigid that you don't become open about even changing anything. You know, this is something where I want to touch, because I have heard this so many times before. I also used to say that I'm like this, that's it. There is a difference saying I'm like this, that's it. Then it's like I know what's right for me, and this is how I work on it. There is like a very big difference. And this is where, like, I want to say it like that. If a person is still feeling that they are, because ego will actually make you small. And true self might make you infinite in terms of like that you might come out of like a lot of bubbles and you still
Totally.
gonna look for the new bubble, right? So how do you
Yeah.
feel like that right now, where you are at your journey, or like how do you feel it's progressing for you in this
Uh,
manner?
at this point, I'm very much content with what I am, and I am very much okay with embracing what I am in terms of my personality, to be honest, because even when I started as a life coach also, Gunjan, so there were a lot of people who started giving me these advice. I remember because I had put on weight during the COVID time, and because I have thyroid and PCOD also, so it came like the amount was even faster to gain weight. So there were and then when I started posting about life coach and everything, so there were a lot of people, even our school friends also, who texted me and said that, Uzma, you should start working on reducing your weight because your profession is such, and you are so much on the screen, you are a public figure, so people look up to you, so you should actually work on losing your weight. And I said, my work is to bring transformations on people. How does it matter even if I'm 100 kgs or if I'm 30 kg? So, Gunjan, had I heard this comment when I had been in my 20s, I would have felt very bad. I would have got all, my esteem would have just hit the rock bottom, like, oh my God, what is it? And I would have started evaluating my, competence as a coach to my weight, actually. But then I was like, I knew at that incident that, message did not affect me. I was actually having a smile and I was amused about that person, and otherwise I'm like, it's okay. So I do feel that there is a lot to cover and learn, because I have got comfortable and I am able to handle the resistance if I show my quirky self or something. And people started saying that you should be serious now because you're a life coach and everything. You can't be like, don't add these funny content on your other page and this and that. And I was like, this is me. And I've actually got compliments from my clients that because I am this, they're very much comfortable sharing and being with me. The rapport is so good that they say, thank God we would have not gone to somebody who is such a serious kind of a coach. We are so comfortable opening up with you. So that ways I've started loving myself and I'm confident, though I feel at times, of course, it does get affected by people, especially if people who are very close to you, whose opinion matter to you, if somewhere the resistance comes from that side, it does affect. But I know that, I mean, in that also, then later on, I take some time, I get sad, I feel that emotion, and then I move on, I rationalize the things. But yeah, that journey to just be like, subtle art of not giving an F is still to come. What about you?
Yeah, it does grow. Like it does superly grow. But so the way you said that, uh, yes, these things like because as I guess like we should talk that about more because I think I learned these things in Berlin way better because maybe Western world does touch point all these social impacts which happens to a person way more than I don't know if it's still in if it's a trend in India now or not because that part of like being body positive and being understanding your own self actually been like people I was surrounded by that they will talk about like or people will appreciate me or whatever because again in corona times I also gained and I had like a very big how do you say love and hate relationship with this because I felt that like for the longest time if I lose weight it's for others and I remember the first time I lost weight was like really became like my best figure or whatever and I went into depression straight because I was just not so happy because everything I had to do because to get there it was not my true self. My true self loves to party, my true self loves to eat, loves to do things and they just took away everything from me and then I was just like this is not fun. I might be looking really super hard but not like that was the time like where I just became even more strong about this part like that I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what you say because I also get these messages sometimes but now when I see it like that I own like my like body I love everything what it is about but I keep it healthy as well it's not like that I'm just living through it because my true self does want it like does want that you live a better life and be healthy so these things comes in and it's just not that like it's lot of other aspect of your life kind of changes, and you become way more aware that what is it you want. In terms of, like, if I say about getting married, I think for the longest time I thought I want to get married because that's what everyone does, right? And everyone wants to do it at certain age. And now, like, now when I'm so established with who am I don't see that happening because I don't want it. You know, if someone asked me before, I would have said yes, because yes, everyone is doing it. So this is the difference. And now, like, if you ask me, I was like, no, I don't see any point because I don't feel it. I'm really happy with whom am I, and it's becoming even more stronger, that I just feel like that, oh, I never wanted her actually. So maybe that's why in all my relationship also, because this is also gets affected. The time when you don't know who you are, not by the like the part which you also touched, like that where your clients loves you like because you showed who you are. It is so true, because I feel authenticity also has come down to the marketing like keywords sometimes, because a lot of people create a authenticity profile by influenced by others, what others would like, and then that's what we're gonna do and say that we are authentic. I'm saying, actually, you are authentic when you do these things and you go against the stream, you know, you go against the wave and you really run it. Because I'm pretty sure for you, the way I have, like, I also completely changed my muted space, like my entire visuals, because I'm like, earlier I was doing that boring shit like corporate thing, and suddenly I was just like, no, I'm way more colorful inside and I can't do this. Like, so you put that. So I guess like these small things, like there are so many, like I can give example of, like in terms of once you become established. And but right now my thing is like, I have at least like, okay, I'm very glad that I have grown into this person who's now doesn't say that I'm awesome from an ego. It says I'm awesome because I know it. Because I know there is a lot of shit like I know which I'm good at because I worked on it. So it comes from that, you know? And that there will be time where I will say that, okay, I don't know. But yes, okay, it's hard for me to accept that because I'm still working on it. You know, like suddenly, if there is something I don't know about, I just go into this as like, yeah, whatever. And my friends know that. My friends know that I don't like to be looked like dumb in front of anyone. But then I'm working on that. So that's my part of it. That where I'm working in owning my imperfections as well. Yeah. So what do you feel about that? Like that, is there something which you would like to share about where you became even more happier once you understand something you're not good at, or like you just don't care about it, you know? Those things.
You know, I want to confess something here, Gunjan, that when I gained weight, and it really affected me initially, you know, the confidence part and self-esteem part, you know, you had been my inspiration that time. You don't know really about it, because I used to watch your posts and I used to feel, oh my god, she is so comfortable in her skin. Because I started, you know, I stopped wearing a lot of things that I used to wear earlier, because I felt that no, I should not wear body hugging clothes and I should face, you know, this type of way. And watching myself in the mirror, I didn't used to feel happy about it. And then when I used to see your post, I used to feel, wow, I need to get the confidence like Gunjan. Look at the way she's carrying herself and this and that. So when you were talking about it, I was like, I should share this. This is the right time to share this with you.
Well, that's so cute. Yeah. Like, because I'm having goosebumps right now. Because I think that does help. Like, because yes, I also did it because, like, you know, like I was getting better with it because I also had the same thing where you become insecure and you're this, that. And then I was like, if I'm going to think so much about it, I'm never going to be happy about it, you know?
True.
And that's what I was saying, that I think the Western world kind of affected me here a bit more, because they're very deep into like becoming your skin, like in the sense you really become happy. And also like that I have so many gay friends like who are so cute, because they're always like my biggest supporter, because like, we love this. And I think we should do that often for each other, especially for the people who are working on it, like, you know. And I'm very glad that it helped you. I feel happy about that. And it's like now you are in that journey, like where you get in. But that's so cute. Thank you.
And in fact, being your authentic self also involves knowing actually the right kind of people who you want to have in your life, because you mentioned about the relationship part, and I want to say here that when you start knowing your authentic self and then you start reflecting upon it, that whose presence is making you happier and whose presence is not, and what is it that with this person you are true to yourself and you can do anything that you want to, and with somebody else you are like not comfortable showing, or not, you are forced to do certain things. So there also, when you know your authentic self, you are able to choose the right kind of people to be around you. You can make your own tribe, and you can flourish and thrive with those people. And there's this very like tool which I often share with people when I'm taking workshops on relationship. That's the right hand and the left hand rule, that a lot of times people are very unhappy that my family is not able to understand me, or my spouse does not support me. So there I tell that you have these two hands, and you have your people. Some people are your right hand people and some people are your left hand people. Both of them love you. They do not want anything bad. They're not the toxic people. They both want good for you. But your right hand people are those people who are loving you, but they don't understand actually your aspirations and dreams. But they always want the good of you, but they don't understand you. And your left hand people are those who are your cheerleaders, who are good and everything. So when you want to share things, when you want to get that motivation, that energy, be with your left hand people, and know and accept that your right hand people do not want bad of you. It's just that they cannot understand. They're too naive to understand your dreams and aspirations. So these are the people who give you energy, and then you show it to these right hand people that what you can do. So it's just they both love you. It's just that they are in the two different hands, and then it gives so much clarity and so much peace of mind that at times people who you love, especially if your parents don't understand your authentic self and there's so much hurt inside,
Oh God.
they are your right hand people. It's okay, forgive them. I have some of my left hand people. So yeah, in your authentic self, I feel you kind of understand how you can make your circle, and you can have more, and especially in terms of choosing your partners as well.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
I wanted to say.
Like I've had my lessons for that, like when I had no idea who I was, because that's what I want to add on, like that this is a really good analogy, like, or like the method which you teach, because that's also good for person to understand, to detach, and to also see that like who are really there. Because once I feel that once you are also like true, you also give that energy to other, and then they also show you the authentic of themselves. Because think about the friends you made in your vulnerable moments are the ones like which will be staying there, because they know you really truly, and they didn't judge you, or they didn't made you feel shit. Like, and anyone who made you feel shit at that time, I think yes, it's time to let them go. Like, or just be like, okay, thank you so much, God bless you, leave. But I also feel that this like left hand people also changes, because the way we said that it was a process. There will be handful of one which will be there in your journey, touch wood, like for all your life. And I'm very grateful about like having those people like in my life, which are there from school, from college, and they're still there, and I love it. And from other aspect of life. But I also seen that more I changed and more I became to like, and I more became understood that what is it my boundaries and what is it I am doing, my like group also kept changing. It's like, it's so funny that I just want to tell this to people, like, especially that yes, there is moments of being alone when you start this journey, or there is a moments of being alone when you start self-doubt, like that, am I even doing it right, or should I be like them? Because yeah, it's very easy to be like others, like it's very fucking easy. But if you're not and you're really working on it, there will be like slow dip where you're not having anyone, but there will be more people. There are always so many people. And especially in India, I think no one should be worried about that. I never think it's like over here I have to do like extra work. I'm pretty sure there are people like who are raising and evolving and who also in this same journey. Yes, sometimes it's hard to find them, but I think it's just like it keeps coming and keep going, and you just keep growing. So that's what happens. Like, yeah.
So, Gunjan, I want to ask you here because let's a little bit talk about how we can actually build this muscle of authentic self. Because owning your true self or owning your authentic self is not a one-day practice. It's actually something you need to do every day. Take small steps towards it, and we have done it. That's why we are here, and we still feel that there's a long journey for us to also cover. So, when it comes to building that muscle, we talked about the values. So, what do you feel? I mean, what could be the very first thing in identifying the values, or how we can actually align our true self with the values? Because we've worked a lot on it.
Yeah, it's like, I guess the part like which you said, the first tool is the reflection, right? Like the second tool is where you said that like we should know what makes you happy and you really establish it. And I think the one which no one talks about, like because in India we are a very dependent society, is like creating boundaries. Because then you create boundaries to yourself and you create boundaries for others, because the calm and the peace which you get once you become this, you really don't want it to get, you know, someone should not distract that, like, or someone should not come and then make you. But that happens like every time I go back home. I'm still in the process, so it takes time. But I think the boundaries is the main core of everything, and also letting go. You should touch those points in our like maybe next session. They're like about the boundaries and about how we let it go that to get there. So what is like the next session we are doing basically?
It's actually owning your nose,
Oh
not just
yes,
nose, but
yes.
NOS,
I know.
nose.
Basically, hashtag boundaries are cool, you know?
Yes.
So that's what we have to do. So yes, we're gonna talk about it, like, but for now, like, we're just gonna end with like just our last thoughts, maybe. Like, what's your last thought about like the true self, like, which you would like to say?
So my last thought here to everybody is this only, that you don't need to be shy about being who you are truly. There will be a lot of people who might make you feel that no, this is not right, but just turn a deaf ear to them, because who you are and your true self, it's really awesome. No matter how quirky, how weird you are, that weirdness, that is going to be your uniqueness, and trust me, everybody is going to fall in love with that thing. Truly, people who are going to matter to you are going to love you for that thing. So be that, because at the end of the day, you cannot live your whole life in pretense. You cannot live your life being somebody else. You have to live your life the way you are, your core, your deep. And for that, it's time that you start taking steps. Stop being that people's pleaser. Stop just saying that yes ma'am, yes I do things. Start learning to say no's, which we are going to talk about in our next video, so stay tuned about that. And yeah, love yourself.
Good. I just want to say that like everyone can be a fucking rock star if they actually become who they are. And the people in 20s, if they watch this, or 30s, in any age, it's just starts. It starts anytime, but it needs to come there. So yeah. So that's it then. Okay, then bye. See you next time. Right? Like, but do subscribe on the newsletter. That's all.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.